Git is very important for everyone. Git is a version control system for people that don't know anything about it. Most of all these things, if you find them strange, you can always Google them. Git is like whatever you have on your system, you can always have it somewhere in the cloud. So as you do some coding, push it there. You have it on your PC, you have it in that cloud. When you need it, you can call it back. If you want to update it, you can send some updates to it. It's as simple as that. And Git supports every kind of programming language. Through Git, open source has been made possible because Git is actually, let me call it a language, then it runs on different platforms. We have GitHub, we have GitLab, we have Bitbucket. So anyone, GitHub is very much popular, but most companies use GitLab and Bitbucket because of teams. Like it's better, it's forming teams on those two. I think it's free and GitHub is not free. So let this thing ring that you need to know this. I think this is the end of my slide. Wow. And I was enjoying the talk actually. This is over an hour. Yeah, I would like to actually entertain questions now. Let me stop sharing my screen. If you have questions, probably for intermediate guys, they might have questions to ask me. I don't mind answering them. For beginners, if you have any question, I don't mind answering them. If I do not have answer to your question, I will let you know. Then probably reach out to you later if I make some mistake about it. So you can use the chat box, or you unmute your mic and ask your question. Is there anybody from Futa here? If there's anybody from Futa here, I would like to know because I actually want to know. Okay, so those Futa students, do you know about AI Plus Club in Futa? AI Plus Club in Futa, they're a community of, just like we have in UI, I think they've even started since last year, 2019. Immediately after the AI Plus invasion in 2019, which was around March, they started and they are doing well. Now quite a lot of them doing well on Zindi, doing on Kagu, doing well, cool projects. I know Lawrence, their lead. We actually belong to the same community, so definitely it's not unexpected for me to know him. So are you aware that there's a club in your school called AI Plus Club, Futa? If you're not aware, I'm telling you now, it would be nice for you to join them. If you need the number of the lead, you can go to the DSN webpage or send me a message. You can get my WhatsApp number from James. I can send you the number of the lead. Then you speak with him directly and he asks you. Please, if you have questions, feel free to ask, even if you think these questions are stupid questions, because there is not actually a stupid question in anywhere. It's something you don't know. Okay, I'm seeing some interesting questions here. What should be my first step into data science? Okay, let me first answer that. Your first step is just to start. Pick up a preliminary course on introduction. Maybe if you can just, I can recommend you to start with AI for Everyone on Coursera. It's just few hours course for you to understand the whole concept of AI. Then from there, I can also recommend Intro to Python free course on Udacity. You understand basic Python programming. If you learn from Udacity, you definitely get it if you are patient. From there, do some few calculator, do some few if conditional projects about Python. You can Google them just to make sure you are convenient programming Python. Although it will take you some years to actually be so sure of yourself. Because programming is actually a language. Let us not deceive ourselves. Only if you learn one language conveniently, then switching to other languages will not be difficult because you're able to map the A in this one to the A in that one. So it makes it easy for you to just practice things and go on. So when you pick up Intro to Python, do some practice. Wow, it's 10 minutes. do some practice about it. From there, I can still recommend intro to machine. You are done with intro to machine learning. Chill, rest, go to cargo, learn there, go to ZD, find a problem, practice, find a project to build. Don't be too eager to do many things that you see people are doing that are deep learning when you hear of neural network. Don't be too eager there. Take your time. If you know you've practiced enough, at least that you know that you can now start to pick up, deep learning stuff, because that's when it gets interesting. Of NLP or stuff like that. There are different areas in data science that you can face. You can face natural language processing, you can face computer vision, you can face reinforcement learning, even though not so many people does that in Nigeria. You only eventually get there, probably when you have done some NLP or some. You can even face data visualization, storytelling, probably with some business intelligence or Power BI, Tableau, and stuff like that. So now another interesting questions. Kabiru Mukti said, well, I don't know. Being an animator does not make you a member of DSM. What makes you a member is for you to fill their AI membership form. Get an AI membership ID. That is when you register yourself as a member of DSM. Even when you are not a member, some general opportunities like general event of DSM would come, their lectures, general stuff are open for everybody. But there are some opportunities that only members get them. So, do we have any self-driving car? Well, there are self-driving car technology products that are being built in Nigeria. Even some of them are being used as final project. It's the same technology. I know of you are here. I've met a lot of people that they did self-driving what do they call it? Trolleys, this that they use in supermarket. My all these baskets, self-driving basket that will move from a particular location to a particular location by itself, carrying the load. All those things are not difficult. It just takes you to have some IoT knowledge, knowing how to work with Raspberry Pi or Arduino, knowing how to link it with your Python code. It's just like sending message to a router on web too, knowing how to send some requests to the port. Arduino or Raspberry Pi is just like a microcomputer, that's like your system. Knowing how to link those stuff to themselves. So when you know how to link those stuff to themselves, you write the program that execute the task you want to know, which most likely has to do with reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is actually learning by trial and error. The computer learns, it tries several things. He knows what he wants to do. He now tries several things to achieve until it achieves that. Computer is actually fast. He tries several things to achieve what he wants to do. He will have defined an end goal. He now tries several. It keeps doing some trial. It's just like some of you guys have worked with algorithms before. Just like they are doing loop. Okay, try this thing. When you have tried this thing, you already know there's no way here. Turn back. Try this thing. It's just as simple as that. I can't say I know self-driving. I can build a self-driving car now. But if they give me that challenge, like what we'll be working on in the next 3 months is how to build a self-driving car technology. I'm not necessarily saying a self-driving car. The self-driving car technology, if you build a bucket that can carry water from the tank, like from the tank to your room, it's a self-driving car technology. And it's as simple as that. If you build a wheelbarrow that can move from the starting point to the destination, carrying a particular load. It's a self-driving car technology. It's the technology behind it before you now make it complex. So a lot of people have actually worked on that in Nigeria. But self-driving car, for you to even build one, is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and nobody, I don't think any of our federal government are ready to invest in that. And there are a lot of challenges we face in Nigeria. So it's not as if we cannot do it. We can do it. It's just there are a lot of money involved and stuff like that. Please help us with the copy for the slide. Then, so what is machine learning? Okay, okay. So Lizzie said I should help with the copy of the slide. That's no problem. I can actually share with you now. It's on Google slide. So machine learning is an aspect of AI actually. We humans, what we do, you know, you wash your clothes daily. Can you train a machine that will help you wash that in some ways? It could be machine learning, stuff like that. Whatever you do repetitively, like you do the same thing today, you do it tomorrow, do next tomorrow, do next tomorrow. You should be thinking of a way to make machine do it because machine can learn from all those previous works you've done. You can make the machine learn the patterns behind it and perform the operation for you. Then you just keep optimizing it to work to its maximum. So it's just as simple as that. And in machine learning, we have supervised, we have unsupervised. Some people say we have semi-supervised, we have reinforcement learning. Supervised is when your target, what you want to learn to do, is defined. Unsupervised, like you know your target. And knowing your target, you have two types. You have the classification, where you are predicting perfect score, like either 0 or 1, or when you are predicting float, when you are predicting how should I call it, float, when you are predicting continuous value, continuous target, like 1.1, 2.2, 20, 50, 0. So you get, it's not perfect. It's as simple as that. Then reinforcement learning, I've said it earlier. Learn from your error. Get rewarded for accomplishing the task I want you to do. It's as simple. Reward them, encourage reward them. Okay. As a beginner, is it possible for me to read, understand all what you've mentioned alone without a tutor? I don't know whether I said this. Did I say get a mentor? You actually to be well, can
You
you hear
said
me
it.
please? Okay. You
Yes.
actually to be honest with us, you necessarily don't need somebody to sit you down and teach you. Well, let me reframe that. You necessarily don't need somebody to teach you down. You only need probably you are the type that don't find it easy to learn new things alone. And it's not as if you not even learn that thing. It's because you are not sure of what you've learned and nobody was making you move forward. What you actually need is a mentor. What would a mentor do for you? A mentor who understands you, you know the type of person you are, give you some tasks. Okay, can you do this within this particular date? Learn this, learn that. Don't do beyond that. Just learn that. And after that, do this. Okay, after that, the mentor has experience enough to know that after doing this, the next thing for you is to do this. Okay, when you are done, okay, we are going to write an article that will talk about what you've done. Okay, after writing an article, okay, pick up this course. Yeah, do this. But if you don't have a mentor, you just be doing things the way you think is right. And most of the time, your try and error might not nag it. Like you might not add it, you might not be the opportunity or the privilege to do the right thing. So what you actually need is a mentor. However, some people would need, because human beings are different, some people will need to have somebody to teach them the basics at least. Let somebody give them a one-on-one mentorship, like one-on-one tutoring that will cover something to a particular level. If you get somebody to teach you one-on-one and you still did not have a mentor, the teaching of the person will actually might eventually go in vain if there is not somebody to tell you what next thing to do. To be honest, I don't think I had a direct mentor, but I am that type of person that is very much inquisitive. When I don't know something, I'm not always ashamed. I can ask anybody. Use me to laugh. I don't mind. I'm sure when you tell me that thing today, you cannot laugh about that same thing again the next time. That's one thing I'm very proud of myself. So I'm not always ashamed to ask questions that may sound stupid, although myself, I don't like taking things to people when I've not tried to solve it. Because if they ask me, if they ask me what have you done, even when you're asking your mentor stuff, it gets interesting and shows that you are ready to learn, or you are inquisitive, or you are smart. If you tell them the things you've done to solve it, I've tried to do this, I've tried to do that, I could not solve it. I've tried to do this, I've tried to do that, I could not solve it. That shows seriousness. That's me. But in the same vein, if you are able to get a mentor that understands you, so that when you even ask questions that are stupid, the mentor will not make you see it as if you actually ask a stupid question. The mentor will be so calm to understand you and respond to you with the tone you understand. So you actually need a mentor, and not everybody can mentor you. Not everybody. I cannot mentor everybody. I know the type of people I can mentor. I cannot mentor people that are lazy. Let me just say it that way. And I cannot mentor some people, even if you're not lazy, some people are not just the kind of character that can flow with you. So you need to identify somebody that can flow with you, that will have passion for what are your visions. If you have somebody that will have passion for that, that will help you greatly. Unfortunately, I could not code. So I always talk about like say, we should code, we should code, we should code. Maybe James should ask me questions that will make me code. Okay, there's another question here. Okay,
I have
there's no
question.
question. You should see. I think I've answered you. If there's another question that I've not answered,
I
please
have
let me
question.
know. James, right?
I have question.
James, right?
No, Ajay.
Oh, okay, Mr. Ojo. Okay, I'm with you, sir.
Okay, good evening, my brother. I
Okay, Mr.
really,
Ajay. All right, no
I
problem. I'm with you, sir.
okay, I
Yes,
really
sir.
appreciate your effort and what you have done. I really enjoyed the lecture. The question I want to ask is this: I can call myself an intermediary. Intermediary, number one. On this data science, I was introduced to it when I wanted to write my MSc project. I didn't even know anything about data science. So my project supervisor insisted that I must work on data science, which was difficult. But by the grace of God, I met a mentor also that helped me to write a Python program just to complete that project. I think that project we present it at international conference as
Okay.
going on. That project, particular project, we presented it. So it just remain for them to approve it so that we can publish the project. What I want to ask is that I know the man I've left, I was unable to ask him some questions so that I can move on in that area. Number one, to start this thing, which is invoked now, that means data science. I think that person I want to start with must know Python very well. The way I look at it. Though, number two, machine learning. That time where I was to work on e-banking phishing, so I did a lot of literature review, look at what people have done, and I have to pick three methods to make use of naive bias, nearest neighbor, and that decision tree. So working with that, with those method, machine learning method, was difficult to me. Now the guy has to take me through manual calculation, which I've not seen before. I have to use over calculation to learn what is really going on with the data set that I got from UCL repository, not cargo. I I didn't get the data set of
Yeah. I know you see it.
yes. So after getting the data set, now for me to move on, after knowing the manual calculation of those machine learning, it now said I must install anaconda, so to say, that it will make use of Python. I know much about PHP and HTML. For this Python of a thing, I don't know it. And I said, this, and I look at it, how will I learn this Python? The man who could not even reveal with me, just show me the output, I mean the result from the data set. Now I was curious that this thing I need to know. That's what people are using. Even majority of the project that they are supervisor in this area. I mean, I know it's a study center. They are taking out is data science, data science, data science. And everybody data science, data science. What people need, what do we need to move on in this data science? Is it that that person should go and learn Python first, or there are other programs that we can make use to analyze any data set we get from the internet, or we should go and start study manual machine language because there are calculation of those things and most of the book doesn't treat it. I went through Naive Bayes on internet. I mean, went through the written on Naive Bayes. I couldn't see the method manually to calculate or to solve issues. If you are extracting a particular table from data set, and you want to manually calculate and know the result, you understand, of the data set before you now take all the data set into Python, because my data was around 11,550. You understand? It was attributes. So how we look at it? What do we really need if you are starting this data science?
Thank you very much. I appreciate your question. I want to believe the summary is what do we need to even start. First and foremost, I would like to first disclaim the fact that you need to go and learn how to use your hand, like manual calculation. That might not be necessary. You were only able to do manual calculation because the models that you said you use, which are naive bias, decision tree, and one that I can't remember that you said. Naive bias is on conditional probability bias theory. You do that, then you do it on um, what's it called? Gradient descent. Do some differentiation and stuff like that. That one is easy for people to do manual calculation. This other one that you say you used, um, decision
Decision
tree,
tree and
has a
k
it has a
nearest.
it has a K nearest neighbor and KNA. All those three algorithms, uh, if I study them, can work them manually. Even though me, I don't think I'm ready to be working anything manually, but at least I know the formulas that are working right behind the hood. You can solve those guys because they are simple models. You cannot
Okay.
use your hand to solve a deep neural network. Probably you've
Okay.
heard of convolutional neural network, you've heard of recurrent neural network, you've heard of long short-term memory, you've heard of GRU, you've heard of GAN, generative adversary network. You cannot use hand to solve them because a lot of things are going on that some people say will not be able. You can't just explain. Although the theories behind them you will know, you're able to build the architecture, but you cannot use hand to solve a neural network. Deep neural network to be precise. A simple perceptron you can use your hand because they are not much. But deep neural network, which is what I call the interesting part of data science, because that's when things that you think are not possible, you so far you have the data, you will do it. I understand your plight that where do you start? It's not actually as if apart from Python, there are no other stuff you can use. Python, if it is programming, writing core programming to achieve some of what is proposed, the two languages I would still recommend. in my own opinion, is Python and or R. If you know R before, you can go along with R and move on with R. But if you do not know R before and you want to learn one out of the two, I would recommend you learn Python. Because your knowledge in Python, you can easily transcend it to software
For that.
using
Okay.
using Django and Flask. But if you already know R before and you are convenient, you can move on with R. People are doing amazing things with R. I know people that are doing amazing things. But apart from explicit programming, like writing core programs, there are ways by which you can build models without having to write programs. Even though almost everybody in this text will know the programming if you're in data science, but you can actually do some stuff without programming. It's not everything that you need to program. You can probably jot this down. There's a tool called K9, Knime. K9, most industries use it. The funny thing is, most of all those industries, they actually don't write code for everything. K9 is very useful. Microsoft has Azure. In Azure, you don't although there's a coding console there, but you don't necessarily need to code to build code models. You can make use of the infrastructures that Microsoft has provided for you. AWS has SageMaker. AWS is another cloud platform. You can use their SageMaker to build and run a lot of experiments. Same thing with Google. Google also has GUI, like graphical user interface. K9, Knime, K9. K9 is very powerful. Even with Power BI, Power BI can run some simple models too, even though its primary objective is for business intelligence, like do some dashboard and stuff like that. Tableau the same thing. But and there's another tool called Big ML. In fact, I've used Big ML at one of AI bootcamp by DSN, I think for last year. Big ML is actually even free. You can enter Big ML and run your even neural networks on Big ML will run under a few seconds. I was amazed seeing it go under a few seconds. You can make use of Big ML too. But the funny thing is, most of all these tools that we are saying, most of them are not free, even though some are free. You have to pay to use Azure. Some there are some free packages, but if you really want to go deep, you have to pay. Even if you want to write Python, there are some levels that you will need to invest in your infrastructure. So if you know you are not convinced, you say you know PHP, you are conversant with PHP. If you actually know PHP very well and HTML, it will be difficult for you to learn Python. Like Python is easy to learn.
Okay.
It won't be
Okay.
difficult. It will only take
Okay.
you few time and commitment. If you know you have 2 hours of your time to commit to it, be consistent and go on with it. And don't think you want to be like all these young guys that are just coming up, that are committing all of their time. They write a lot of code. You don't necessarily need to understand the code. When you need to do it, do some soft substance. If you want to do complex stuff, you can go for all these easy tools. Nobody will ask you why did you write this code. As long as you know what you have done and you can defend it. There are lecturers on campuses in OU there. I know of Dr. Shakina Follow Show. She's an AI woman, and I don't think she writes Python explicitly like that. She's a woman. I don't think she can be coding like we are doing. Like we can be coding from morning to night. How will she do it? She can't. She's a lecturer. She's a mother. She can't do all those things. But she understands Python, and when she wants to do some sophisticated stuff, I know she will move on to better services like Azure, like BigML, like Google Cloud, and stuff like that. So you don't need to bother yourself with knowing it like young people that are just coming that they are not even going to go and be employed now. People that are working safe, they find a way to make their life easier by using easy tools. As fast
Thank
as you
you.
can do something, try and do it as fast as possible. Nobody will ask you how did you achieve. Just get the output. The fastest way is the way. So and you can
Thank you.
actually learn Python.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I really gain a lot. Thank you. I will follow that.
Yeah. So is there any other question, please? And I want to believe we learn one or two things, even though we did not code. If I was to code, many of us would have been lost. Well, if I was to code, some people that are intermediate will be bored. But I want to believe, okay, I think Michael wants to say something.
No,
Sorry,
I
please, I
said
can't hear you.
I have a question in my comment.
Sorry,
I
I can't
learned
hear you.
I have a question in my that
I can't hear you, Michael. Maybe you should use the chat box.
can you hear me? I said I learned a lot today, and I have no questions in mind currently, so I have to digest what I've just heard.
All right, amazing. Thank you very much, James. Over to you. Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate.
You're welcome, sir. Thank
My,
you, sir.
you're welcome. James, are you there?
I'm
Or the
still here.
PRN?
Yes, I wish I could have that slide. I want to actually get to
Yes,
understand.
please. Let me work on that. Oh,
No problem.
I will send it to the group. I'm on that group. I will send it to the group.
Yes.
My
Okay.
internet is
Thank
not showing correct. All right, thank you. I want to add one to James or somebody that is on the executive here can just take it from there. So thank you. I'm leaving now.
Thank you.
Sorry, is the meeting closed or we are waiting for something? Sure, can still hear.
Uh,
Sure, let me.
sure, sure, sure.
Wait, what time?
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, so bye.